Hi guys, welcome back. If you're new to the channel, great big hello to you. My name is Jean-Paul, this is The Seated Gun. If you are new to the channel, then great big hello to you. Thanks for joining, thanks for watching. Please do make sure you subscribe by clicking on this link below. Make sure you ring the bell to be notified when our next film comes out. Please also follow us on our Instagram by clicking on that link below, where you'll be shown lots of great pictures. We post every night and tell you lots of things about what's going on in the shooting industry. We've got a great website as well, seated-gun.com. Make sure you follow us. So guys, today we've got something, I'd like to say special, but I think it's probably Marmite. Slightly silent, because I actually can't believe Browning have made this. Now I'm a big fan of Browning. I think they make a cracking gun, hugely reliable, very well made, and there's clearly a call for what I've got here and what I'm going to tell you about today. But I think we need your comments. Let's have those comments in the comments section below, because we'd love to hear what you think of this gun. We'll start at the back, work our way to the front as always. So if we start at the back, we've got Browning's influx pads. Now this is a 14 3/4 inch stock as standard out the box. However, you can actually take this stock up to a 15.5 inch by putting the packs on, and of course by putting the influx pads on, which is part of the Browning design. So you can actually pad this out to a reasonably good size if you did need to. If we move back through the stock, we're not going to talk about the woods at the minute, because to be honest to you, we need to talk about that in a lot of detail. But let's just work our way through. You will notice on this stock, we've got an adjustable comb. This works with Browning's key section. So all you need to do is just pop your key in the back, and that section there will lift up and will move back left and right as well. So you can actually adjust it for height as well as cheek. I actually really like this, and I use a 725 Pro Trap with this system on, and I have to say it's absolutely superb. Moving forward onto the pistol grip, there is no palm swell. So this is great if you've got quite small hands. And to be fair, although I've got big hands, it still feels actually reasonably quite comfortable. Browning's stereotypical laser checkering. This is actually done by hand, which is actually quite nice. However, it's extremely, extremely rough. I have to say it's like holding a cheese grater. And part of the reason of that is because this gun is a laminate. So for those of you who are thinking, well, what do you mean a laminate? It is wood, but it's not wood as we know it. So it's wood with a resin element in it, which means that the actual things, like when you're doing laser checkering, it leaves a little bit of grip behind, and it actually leaves it as quite a sharp feel to the hand. And certainly when we do a close-up on the fore end, you'll be able to see exactly what I mean. Moving forward, obviously, we go on to the standard action. Now, this is probably the only thing that actually holds this gun in any esteem in my book. It's got the 525 standard action, which is absolutely superb and is bulletproof, and I've shot a lot of 525s, and hand on heart would happily own a 525 because the action is just brilliant. I do like on this gun, I have to say, the fact that they've got this sort of very basic, very plain, just sort of like a satin finished action. It's nice and smooth. It's a nice tight fit to both fore end and stock. Yeah, it's really nice. Shame about the rest, but the actual action is lovely. So no engraving at all. All you've got is the model and the Browning logo. Up onto your top pin, you've obviously got your Browning logo. This is a manual safety, but you do have the auto safety in the box. So if you wanted to convert it, you can do. Underneath, obviously, you've got your Browning logo, and again, just your model. It is an adjustable trigger, which is quite handy, and it's nice to see that they have kept it as a straightforward stainless trigger, rather than putting on their, well, gold ones. Moving on to the fore end, we've got a standard fore end tulip style, which is nice in some ways, not so nice in another. It all depends on what, again, your personal preference is. I have to say, I don't mind a tulip fore end. What I object to is the cheese grater before it, and that is what puts me off. And with this being laminate, this laser checkering is just so harsh on your hands. It's not like that. It's not like a wood laser checkering where it actually softens up the more you touch it. This actually is rough. It's like plastic that's been shredded or cut, chipped, whatever. Yeah, that's the fore end. As always, great big thank you to Ashley and the team over at Northampton Gun, who have lent us this today to review, and who lend us most of our guns that we do review. They've got a cracking selection of guns over there, as well as most things that you're going to be looking for when you go shooting, whether that be from your cartridges through to your clothing and everything else. You can check them out in our link below, their website. Give them a visit, it's well worthwhile. Up to the barrels, this is a 32-inch gun. They are available as a 30 and a 32. Just so you're aware as well is that SL stands for sporting laminate. Now, Browning also do a GL, which is the game laminate. And what that is that's available as a 28 and a 30-inch barrel, compared to a 30 and a 32 on the Sporter. In addition, still a laminate finish, non-adjustable, and that's in what I can only describe as a sort of fake wood colouring. So you don't have this grey colour, you actually have it as what looks like a wood. Again, horses for courses, and it's all down to taste, but let's move on. Barrels on this, as I've said, are a 32, straightforward 10mm rib from front to bottom of the barrels. They are a top vented and a centre vented. You've got mid bead, and then you've got your end bead, which again you can change. This one just happens to have the luminous green bead in it. They are multi-choke guns. They're not flush fitting, and they're fitted with Browning's Invector type. So you've got your black and your gold ends, which again, great chokes and certainly do the job. But what I wanted to focus on is this, I nearly said wood, and it certainly is not wood. Browning came up with this idea really with laminate so that it's sort of fits, I think, a little bit more of the general standard of people wanting to do a lot more out in bad weather. So, you know, if you're a big wildfowler, or, you know, you're in a climate where it's a lot of humidity, a lot of wet, snow, then, you know, this is probably ideal for you. All I would say is, and it is a personal taste, I have to say, is that the gun itself is lovely, but I just think that the way that they've done this laminate and the patterning on this laminate, it just reminds me of a pack of flooring that you go pick up at B&Q on a Sunday afternoon.
Oh, you is ugly.
And hand on heart, it's just not nice. Now, I know there's been other reviews. I know there's an awfully big following for laminate guns, and Browning have had a huge success with this. And I think it's right that they've had a success with it, because I think that it does fit a certain criteria. But I think when you look at this close up, you certainly change your mind. And certainly on the Sporter, as I said, the Sporter comes with this sort of black grey sort of, I think it's supposed to be sort of contemporary colouring. Now, I'm not sure whether you get noticed on the playground for the gun, or how bad it looks, or whether it's just people are laughing at you personally. But this is definitely not something for me. The laminate on the game version is a similar patterning, but again, like I said, it's much more of that wood effect. So it's got the caramels, it's got the browns and the blacks in there, and it looks a bit more like sort of a grade 1 walnut, which is great. The big benefit with this, of course, like I've said, is from the weatherproof element. This is pretty much bulletproof. So, you know, if you're out all day in the snow, you're out all day wildfowling, you know, you're not going to get any distortion on this. The big benefit of laminate is, of course, it's a lot more durable. It is heavier. Now, with something like this, which is a 32-inch barreled gun, because the stock is heavier and it's denser, the balance point is actually much more central. So from that perspective, as a gun, it's actually a really, really well-balanced gun. And in my opinion, that's what the shame of this is, because the gun itself is great. It's based on a absolutely bulletproof, stunning action. It's got a great balance point, but this finish is just wow, is the only word I can explain it as. And I'm not sure it's wow in a good way either. However, I'm sure there'll be some people out there that think this looks absolutely fantastic. As I was saying earlier, with the checkering, you can actually notice on this section here where it's cut in. Honestly, it's like holding a cheese grater. It really is harsh on your hands. And I just think that if you're spending what is circa £2,000 for this particular gun, not only do you want it to look nice, but you want it to feel nice. And I just don't think it does either of those two things. So at £2,000, guys, or thereabouts, and I'm sure there's some deals to be done out there, would I have this, or would I actually spend £500 less and have a standard 525? And I think the honest answer is I'd put the 500 quid in my pocket and I'd go for a standard 525. I think it's a prettier gun all round, and with 500 quid better off in your pocket. But again, choices. In the hand and bringing it up to the shoulder, it's lovely. Typical 525. So would I? No, I just wouldn't buy one, guys. And that's not because I want to give bad press to Browning, because, as I've already said, big advocate of Browning guns. I think they're a fantastic manufacturer. But in my personal opinion, I think they've got this really wrong. Action, great. Barrels, great. The adjustability on it, great. Laminate, ow! It's awful. It just looks like cheap, modern flooring that you'd find, well, I don't know where, but it just doesn't do it justice. And I think it would have been better to possibly go with something like they used to do with Synergy, which is the old model of this gun, where it was just black. And yes, it was a plastic gun in reality, but it just looked clean and crisp. Certainly by doing it in these colours, and certainly with it being a laminate, it's just, I just think it's wrong. But again, you know, it is up to everyone, and everyone has their own personal choice. And I'm sure there are going to be people out there who absolutely love the patterning on it and love the contemporary element of the grey. But I also think there's going to be a lot of people out there that are pretty much like me and think a gun should be traditional and have wood. So there you go, guys. All I would say is we'd love to hear what your thoughts are on this. So leave your comments below. Be interesting to hear who's a lover, who's a hater, who likes Marmite, who doesn't. Hope you've enjoyed it. We look forward to hearing from you. Take care. All the best.